Well, SoaR are certainly a team that are very accustomed with their own play style, and we actually have a couple of highlight clips from them throughout this split so far.
That's a bad look for Flashpoint, and then Andy again with the snipe! He's on fire right now on this rock! Snipes from Vetium rain down on Woman. One member dead of Noble. And it's Ozzy next on the list. Ozzy falls down to Vetium too. Chapo jumps to the back looking for andinster, but Vetium will pick up a third kill.
And this is the SoaR that I really want to see come out in game number 2. One that is just so dominant in their performances. You wouldn't have guessed that they had such a weak start to their split initially, but right away it just looked like they really found their own way at the end.
Yeah, you saw the cohesion there in that last clip with the Homiefe blink in and knock up on the Awilix. That was just incredible for a team that haven't been together for that long. The RAS snipe coming through, just everything coming together between those guys, and that's really what I want to see. I want to see them focus on their teamwork, their team plays, and try and outplay Dig using them.
They just didn't get the comfort picks that they really wanted to. Come bracket for Homiefe is not something that we're normally used to seeing out of him, and andinster playing the Scylla. The Raw was banned away from him that first game. The question is, what are they going to go to in the second game? Because it didn't seem like he was necessarily too comfortable on the Scylla.
We know so much about andinster already, but we know him from the jungle perspective, and even though he's been playing this mid role for this entire split so far, it is definitely still something that he's pretty new to, and I think it's really interesting how he's been adjusting to this role overall, and really I just want to take a further look as how andinster is feeling with the role swap.
I am andinster, mid laner for SoaR Gaming, and I'm from North America. My competitive background, in terms of Smite, I've had quite a lot of history. My first team with Barracuda, probably almost 4 years ago now. Started with me, Barracuda, I think Heater, maybe You Won't, Scytheman, something like that. Really long time ago. A lot of those players don't even play the game anymore. And then obviously we worked out through that team and got a whole lot of different team members. And we eventually got the COG Prime team, which succeeded past everyone's expectations, and it was awesome. And then I moved on further down the line, joined SoaR. That didn't work out too well. We expected to do a little bit better than we did at Worlds. It didn't work out too well, so now here I am playing mid lane with Homiefe as my jungler, which is awesome. And it's just been really fun. The switch from jungle to mid wasn't too bad. You know, as a jungler, you're always around mid. It's like the center of all the farm. And I don't know, I can also, as a jungler, I could kind of tell how good mid laners played. And I feel like I understood the role pretty well. It was just getting my mechanics to where they needed to be, how to aim abilities and all that. But I feel like that learning curve isn't too high. I feel like I could learn that pretty quickly, and I feel like it's working out pretty well so far. I'm actually kind of nervous to play almost every team at this LAN. I know it's kind of a thing in Smite where everyone's like, oh, every team is getting so competitive, but I feel like this time, it's really true. Every team really is really good. Any team can win this LAN. So I'm honestly nervous to play every team, but I think all the games should be really fun.
Nervous to play every single team, and that's a statement that we've heard not just from andinster, but pretty much every single pro so far at this LAN event. It's just, you can tell that there is so much potency among every single roster here at the LAN.
Absolutely. So far, andinster hasn't been looking like the greatest, but unfortunately, he's been able to make the necessary adjustments in the second half of the split, but the Gauntlet didn't look too hot in the finals, managed to get through in the North American side of things, but this one game down needs to be a little bit more than just nervous here. He needs to get some wins.
And the wins are certainly important, but it's going to be tough, especially for andinster, still being fairly new to this mid lane role, playing off against somebody who's been around the scene for quite a while and who definitely definitely has been around the mid lane for a while, and that is Zyrhoes. This guy, his god pool is outstanding. He really knows how to be flexible, and on top of that, I mean, we just saw his soul play Hayzer, and I know what you think about that one.
Yeah, he was absolutely outstanding, and obviously he did just come out similarly to Jigz. He just came out of a coaching role with NRG where they won the World Championship, you know, so he's definitely no stranger to winning things. He's a really, really intelligent guy. He does a lot of theory crafting, a lot of thinking about the game, and you know, he has a very wide god pool as well, which I think is something which he has over andinster, having been in the mid lane for a longer time.
Do you feel as though Zyrhoes is probably one of the more dominant shot callers for his team?
He's definitely opinionated. He's got very strong opinions, and if somebody isn't doing something which he likes, he will tell you about it, and that can be cause a bit of friction. But I think on this squad, you know, I think he's working on it, and I think they're coming together well, to like communicating better. And I think probably Trix is probably the main shot caller on that squad.
It's important, though, to have that kind of sixth man in Biggie to be the kind of like the mother of the team, trying to reel people back in if they get a little bit too out of hand. But either way, yet again, another strategy by Team Dignitas taking away andinster's Raw.
And the SoaR adapting to the new situation. Robin jungle no more to the EU team. And I think that that's an excellent choice. You don't want to permit this Robin to go through anymore today, even though we saw that it hasn't had the greatest success. It's been about 50-50 on the Robin, but it's just so much lockdown for these mages to try and kite around, and I think that's an excellent banning decision.
Yeah, I actually think the only reason it lost games was because it was on kind of weaker teams. I think when you know, the top junglers like Captain Twig and QvoFred have picked it up, they have looked dominant, they have looked very strong on it, and we see the Kabrakan go away. They don't want to pick that up themselves this time, I guess.
And why do you feel as though Team Dignitas are looking to prioritize Terra?
Because Terra is very, very, very good. She has an amazing ult. It's obviously a global. It allows you to use abilities when you're out of mana, you know. She provides sustain going into the late game. She provides a lot of lockdown with a stun and a root. She's just got a lot in her kit. So I think she's an absolutely superb pick.
And what do you think to complement Terra is probably the best composition that Dignitas is looking for here?
I think they'll be looking... So Terra, I think, is going to aim more towards the late game, so they're going to need to balance the team comp around the lanes around that. So maybe they'll look for a more early game hunter, sort of maybe a Hou or an Anher, and a bit of pressure in mid with, you know, whatever Zyrhoes feels like playing, you never know. And we see the Serqet come out. So Serqet slightly countered by Terra, with the ult being procced, the heal on it by Serqet Last Breath quite easily, but they're able to pick them up for themselves. So that gives them pressure in the jungle, and they do pick up that Hou in the duo lane to go along with that Terra, giving them a bit of pressure there as well.
And you can never really go wrong with Arkkyl's Hou, if anything. He loves those kind of aggressive hunters, and he's always going to be looking for the fight. So that's a very strong pickup, I think, so far from Team Dignitas, locking in the Serqet and Hou. But across the pond, we do see Cernunnos and Thoth, and the potential Nike hovering. Totally, what are your thoughts on these three gods so far?
So far, Nike and Cernunnos is great assets to SoaR Gaming, having both the AoE control from Cernunnos' Wild Hunt and the Thoth Final Judgment, finding the more linear down the corridor ultimate, the huge burst damage. I don't really expect Nike off the table for SoaR Gaming right off the bat. It's one of these gods that's more towards the late game, trying to get that passive, but the last game, there weren't too many kills to really justify picking up the Nike. You're not going to be able to get one of those 10 kill passive stacks. Instead, hovering over the Awilix, this is more of Homiefe style.
And Hayzer, we see the Thoth already locked in for SoaR Gaming. How do you feel as far as survivability is concerned against a Serqet?
So, Serqet's one of the better gods at killing Thoth, I feel like. Serqet CC chains you, doesn't let you get those long-range dashes off. She doesn't have to chase you, she locks you in one spot. Thoth, you know, he has that very long-range dash when he goes through his window, so he's definitely good at getting away, but I love the Awilix pick here. Hou and Serqet, two of the characters which are more vulnerable to that Awilix ult. So I definitely think that's a good pickup for Homie after we saw that highlight just a minute ago of him playing incredibly on that god.
I was actually just about to say, that's also just a standard comfort pick for Homiefe. I feel like you can't really go wrong with an Awilix, especially when 2 out of 3 gods on the enemy team already have the setup provided for you. So I'm really excited to see where Homiefe tries to hang around, whether it's on the dual lane side or just in the jungle in general, trying to catch Quvo off guard. But more importantly, There is the Nuwa ban as well as the Soul ban, and why do you think that SoaR opted to take away Nuwa as opposed to like a Zeus or something?
So it is something that Zyrhoes has played through the split. He does like the Nuwa. I think it is quite a strong god, especially when it comes to objectives with those clay soldiers. But I think he's got enough of a god pool that it's kind of hard to ban him out. They got rid of the Soul, they got rid of the Nuwa, but I still think he has a lot left in his back pocket to pick up.
And what would you prefer to see him lean towards, knowing that SoaR is going to be running that Thoth?
So there are some things I'd like to see him pick, but I don't want to give it away in case they don't pick him. So I feel like I should kind of hold off on that, but he has a few spicy picks in mid, that's for sure.
I think I know which pick you're leaning towards, but I'm not going to say it either in case it's actually true. But I would like to see the Poseidon because of the cripple effect, making it more difficult for the Awilix to get that Feather Step combination. That's a huge portion of her damage. If you can disable that aspect, Homiefe basically becomes useless.
Hey, secrets don't make friends, guys. I'm just going to throw that one out there for myself and everybody back at home who's watching this unfold. But with the Gev and Khepri getting back on track with the current picks and bans, what are your thoughts on Gev and Khepri being taken away by Dignitas?
So they're going to provide peel for the late game carries of the Thoth and the Chronos. I think Geb is very weak, to be honest. I think he doesn't provide enough pressure. We see the Ymir coming out. That is something that Jigz has looked toward previously. Hou-Yi obviously does have the jump to get away, but it will be good in locking down the Terra. And we see the Erlang Shen hovered again for variety. He looked great on that god last game.
And do you feel as though the Erlang Shen would be primarily to try and focus out Homiefe on that Awilix? Because if you look at SoaR's draft, they don't really have a whole ton of setup coming through for him.
I think what he's looking for is pressure. I think Erlang Shen, provides a lot of pressure in the solo lane, and it also provides, again, CC, which Terra might lack with the taunt. So I think they're just looking for pressure in solo, to be honest. I think they want pressure in a few lanes. And we see the Chronos locked in for Zyrhoes. That was one of the ones that I was looking towards. But, now he's locked it in, we can say it. He is very, very good on Chronos. He really enjoys that god.
That's one of his favorite gods, actually, back in Season 3, whenever he was try-queuing with adapting and Yaman, playing a lot of the Chronos in the mid lane or even in the solo lane every now and then. Not something that he's a stranger to.
And why do you think that it's the Chronos of all gods that he'd be leaning towards?
So I think Chronos is great at killing tanks, which is something which is really, really useful in the current meta. It's very, very hard for mid laners to get on the backline right now. So if they have the lockdown of the double stun from the Chronos 3 into the 1, you're going to be chunking people. And you can get demonic grip to, have your autos slap people on it. And he enjoys those AA gods, as we saw in the SoaR last game.
And with the Bellona being the final choice selection for SoaR Gaming, that should give a little bit of an issue towards the Erlang, Hou-Yi, and Chronos selections, considering how heavily auto-attack based those gods can be. So looking at this draft lineup for both teams, who do you think's taking it home?
I gotta go EU all the way, Team Dig, baby. They were looking hyped in that last game. We heard them screaming over there on the stage. So I definitely think they're coming into this hyped up and they're gonna win this game.
They were aggressive last game. They're gonna be aggressive this game. Dignitas yet again.
I feel like this might be the RIP ENA right away. So with that being said, we are gonna get into game number 2. It's Hindu and F-Dot to bring you guys the action.
I gotta correct my man Hayzer over there. That was me getting excited.
It was you.
I seen that was also you.
I was too. One reason, right? Because
Chronos.
game 1, Sol. Game 2, Chronos. I want Sol to win this game. Then he'll pull out Jingwei, and all the gods that supposedly are bad now because no Fatalis are played.
Nah, listen, Zyrhoes' Chronos is the real deal.
It is.
I think that Chronos is one of the characters. Actually, I think Sol got hurt more than Chronos.
Just be careful. I'm not going to count my chickens until I see it in-game, because there's always a chance that Dick could switch things up and put Chronos in the duo lane. Okay, in the middle.
No,
Just wanted to make sure.
It's Zyrhoes here.
I was not going to have that. LOL! Don't know what you're talking about because he's not in the mid lane. LOL!
Hou-Yi was locked in. I was in the arena, and I was talking to some of the players, and I said, so is that Hou-Yi mid or Hou-Yi long lane? And the amount of looks I got
it's
when
Arkkyl.
The idea of Zyrhoes playing Hou-Yi, come on now. But realistically, Zyrhoes, absolutely. Very strong Chronos, and let's go.
Good impression.
Yeah.
Good impression. I like the fact he's gone for Soulstone start. He's also gone for Tiny Trinket here. Now, the last build on Sol, he went for the Bancroft's Talon.
Yep.
So I expect him to potentially go the same sort of route this time round. The extra sustain he's going to get from the Tiny Trinket is going to allow him to stay in lane a little bit longer. On top of the Soulstone will give him a little bit more power and mana to continue to pressure the wave early on. With a Serqet in tow, especially when you can see there's 2 members in SoaR's dual lane and solo lane, means that there's a lot of pressure on the map for Qvo and Zyrhoes here.
Yeah, Andy on the Thoth. I love this pick for North America. Andy really excels at these long-range artillery-style mages. Ra is his claim to fame so far, and Thoth, the brother, cousin, I don't know lore, but I know the game, and it's going to shoot from a distance the same way Rod does, have a very similar impact on the game. So I think SoaR have definitely put the right tools in their mid laners' hands.
That took a hell of a long time there for Trixtank and Arkkyl to take down that red buff. It looks like they wanted to start the red buff and just get over towards the duo lane, but by doing that red buff at the start, they've technically given SoaR a nice lead in this duo 2-on-2, because they had the purple stripped away from them, and now the oracles.
Ooh. And one of the things that we mentioned earlier is that I didn't hear the analysts touch on too much, but to be fair, I was kind of just yelling. The Ymir pick. I think that Jigz on this Ymir pick is very interesting. Jigz brings a very unique style. Hold that thought. fineokay getting harassed here in the solo lane. Big damage coming out from QvoFred. And the young Rook going to be okay for now.
Yeah, it's good work actually onto fineokay. Bully, pressure him early on, because in that lane matchup against it, just because of how the season's gone, fineokay has done amazing for himself. Obviously, new to the scene overall, but since coming up from the Challenger circuit and finding his way into the big boy stage now on a team like SoaR, his KDA is 3.6. That's really high.
It's definitely enough. It's more than
KD. I should clear that up. KD 3.6.
It's more than I would have expected. Put it that way. I was just talking to some members of fineokay's camp, and you and I casted the Challenger Cup, and a lot of times those guys kind of get stuck in the Challenger Cup.
Oh yeah.
For good reason or not, you just sort of get branded as a Challenger player, and fineokay escaping that description, I think, is a testament to just how damn good he's been.
Definitely, but on top of that, I mean, we heard some of the pros talking previously about where they get the new players from towards the Pro League.
Yeah.
What ends up happening is you become a ranked monster first of all, then you join the Challenger Circuit, because the Challenger Circuit does all the recruiting through ranked. Then the pros look at the Challenger Circuit and go, okay, because the pros do their recruiting through the Challenger Circuit. So it's a filter system that comes out, and fineokay has ground that system like many before him.
Exactly, but the difference here is that fineokay has been successful and has shed that Challenger mentality. When you look at Famous Hate has played on an SPL team, and he's a Challenger player, right? What I'm talking about here is just the perception.
Sure.
When it comes down to being in this type of world, sports, anything where you're in the public eye, perception is reality. And whatever the people think of you is kind of, unfortunately, how the cookie crumbles. fineokay right here has solidified himself as a professional player. Maybe not the top of the crop just yet, but he has definitely left the Challenger world behind, and I think that's very positive for not just himself, but this SoaR lineup.
Now with the squad that you see SoaR drafting here, I want to go back to the Ymir pick. We were just going to touch on that before everyone went down. But Jigz has got a very solid Ymir for himself, but right now it's fineokay. Good reaction time. Very good reaction time to Eagles Rally immediately, and even love the reaction time of Homiefe to jump on Suku at the same time.
Listen, we're just not allowed to talk about Ymir.
No, clearly not. Ymir's okay. Jigz has played it before in the past, but he's against EU, and that's where Ymir came from.
Yeah, exactly. The European squads know how to play against this Ymir, and Jigz so Jigz gets a lot of success on Ymir because, as we said, the North American scene doesn't really mess with him too much, so you kind of get the okie doke. Oh yeah, I forgot how hard that carpet hits. Well, Dig aren't going to be surprised. They're going to get surprised by that stun. Jigz in some trouble. 4 players surrounding the support. That's going to be first blood. QvoFred gets his hands dirty.
But can they get out is the question now. Homiefe gets a good damage on Variety. Variety wanted to continue to fight
Beautiful,
there.
man.
Rest of Dignitas weren't wanting that in at all. And it's Trixtank that could have been playing.
Vetium from the long lane, and there's going to be Suko to help out. Homiefe getting things happening as well. The first blood goes to Dig, but the answer back for SoaR Gaming.
That was a disconnect between Dignitas, because you saw that Variety went in and everybody else was leaving, and so the rest of the team hang around to support Variety, and then it's Trixtank caught with his tail between his legs like, well, I guess I'm going to die now.
Listen, there's some terminology you can't use. You can't say disconnect. I thought somebody DC'd from them.
Sorry. There was a disconnect on the communications from the team there.
Yeah.
That's at least, because one team, clearly that was a call of get out, and Variety's like, hang on a second, we can kill this one. They probably could have killed him, granted, but at the same time, you've got to listen to one.
We heard it with Ataraxia earlier on. His team, the team won a team fight, and there was a very small window of opportunity to get an objective, and people were calling mid, and Ataraxia called Gold Fury, which was the correct call in my eyes. But he committed to the mid tower, understanding that it was the maybe perhaps worst of two decisions, but everybody has to commit.
Listen, we all love Nate, right? But we can't even build right. How does he even know how to shot call? Come on now. Leave it up to the big boys. Like Twig and Millsy.
Have you filled your banter
and yes,
quota?
I just called him Millsy a big boy.
Yeah, I was going to say. Yeah, but have you filled your banter quota?
I'm
Are
close.
you feeling good?
I'm close.
All right.
I'm getting there. It's been a good day so far.
Have we made fun of aggro yet?
Who?
All right. Have we reached that quota just yet?
Yeah, I'm done now. There we go.
Just getting started here in our 5th minute of the game. QvoFred lying in wait, waiting to see if Jigz and Homiefe step out of bounds.
They want Jigz again. If they can keep picking Jigz, they'll be happy with that. Shut down the Ymir, shut down some of the front line, make sure that he can't become running at you with these walls to allow his team to initiate and peel off of that. Instead, bring down that support. He's very immobile as long as he doesn't get things going.
fineokay getting the Variety getting the better of fineokay at the moment as far as the HP is concerned, but the experience definitely in the rookie's favor.
I am so surprised by the Erlang Shen pick, though. Came kind of out of left field here. We've not seen too much Erlang Shen in the past couple of weeks, past couple of months to an extent.
Sure.
And now all of a sudden, Variety's back to running it in the solo lane again. I'm not sure if he's matchup specific or not, but he seems very comfortable on this. It's something they've clearly practiced and been ready to go to once again.
Well, it's like Variety on the Erlang Shen is actually very interesting versus the Bellona. He's mainly an in-hand based character, so you would think that the flail is actually going to shut him down. But he can also interrupt the bludgeon. So it's kind of like a double-edged blade, and he's cutting his fingers, but he's also cutting fineokay at the same time. So at the end of the day, it's really just up to how well Variety is going to play this. It's about individual skill, and Variety has been lauded as one of the best players in the entire league, so go for it,
Good
homie.
kiss. Good poke, good extra damage, no commitment with the ultimate though.
Nice jump.
Just happy to dip out of that fight. A little bit worried about the rotation coming from SoaR.
That's what it all was. Zyrhoes and Terra. Zyrhoes and Trixtank said, look, you gotta run. There's 4 people on your side of the map, and that's exactly what Qvo winds up doing. He's gonna head back to base and walk up the mid lane. Too much nonsense going on the left side, so you couldn't see the full commit on the Gold Fury, but SoaR definitely hard commit on the right side, looking to protect a little bit of what's their own.
And Chronos as well, obviously this time going over to Vetium in this game, so we're going to see how he plays. You can see he's actually going very aggressive in this lane early on, up against the Hou-Yi. We'll see how he'll do with the Hou-Yi though, because Hou-Yi's got a great boxing potential, but it is Chronos, and everyone's been saying consistently this is a very strong hunter.
Yeah.
Probably needs toning down a little bit. We've not seen anything superstardom out of this god just yet.
Exactly. Ataraxia has been sort of the standout player that has made this character work, and he wasn't exactly all fantastic either. Not him, the selection. So it's really, the character is fantastic in a vacuum. The character is great in an individual ranked situation. Right there, that is the ultimate. But what happens in a team environment? And right now, kind of 50-50.
So that's a 1-for-1 of the Gold Furies there, those Oracles that got contested. Nice little pickup from andinster, mainly. I like what Homie was trying to do there, looking to try and catch Zyrhoes with his back turn, but Zyrhoes was just well aware, and Qvo was ready to follow up.
Smart play by Jigz. Now that's a misplay, but sometimes identifying your misplay becomes a good play in and of itself because of what could have happened. Jigz leaves open the space, doesn't get the perfect wall, and doesn't hard commit there. If he goes forward, then the other players can come in and start messing up that team fight. So Jigz identifies the fact that he doesn't get the perfect wall and he can't commit because of it. Very heads-up play and identifying that, you know what, sometimes you don't always hit every shot.
I'm just keeping an experience in this game right now because the gold is still even between the two teams. Ever so slightly ahead for Dignitas there. Experience-wise, though, Homiefe in the jungle is the only real difference between these two teams right now. As SoaR looking towards this Gold Fury, but Dignitas are collapsing quick, especially with Variety wrapping round from mid.
Yeah, this is a good play coming out from SoaR, but Arkkyl might turn things around. The sun's come down. Zyrhoes takes out Jigz. That'll be number 2 for Team Dignitas. Arkkyl gets jumped on, putting on the boots, and fineokay makes himself known. Wonderful play, but QvoFred answers back, taking out Vetium.
Hey, it's hunters both end up dying there, but Jigz was also a casualty, which means Dignitas come ahead 2-for-1. They still have pressure around the Gold Fury here. They may look to try and siege up mid with 4 men, because SoaR could look for that, but Qvo just took a lot more poke than he would have liked. And he's playing this pretty well right now in this Thoth. I will give him credit.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I mean, Andy plays the Ra well, not only in lore, but also in gameplay. These two characters related.
It's more to do with the fact that we give him more credit, I should say, just because he's against a Serqet and an Erlang Shen as well.
Okay.
These gods are very good at getting to the back line very, very quickly and almost unstoppable, but he's getting consistent damage off in these fights that is being impactful, not only to dissuade Dignitas from continuing, but also to actually steal away some of these camps that they're contesting over.
Which is why I really liked fineokay's positioning and target selection in that team fight. fineokay on the Bellona doesn't exactly have a freeze or a hard peel outside of the ultimate, so trying to peel for his mid laner is kind of not really going to come up positive most of the time. Instead, he targets the character that he knows he can kill. That's what Bellona does. She kills. He just Goomba stomps Arkkyl, smacks him with the hammer. Wonderful play out of the rookie. He's already had a great game just 10 minutes in. I love seeing fineokay on this, Bellona, excuse me.
Looking at actually fineokay now, he's just returned from base. He went for breastplate tier 2, and then immediately now he's heading towards the Iron Mail tree to actually potentially, more than likely, I'm guessing it's Mystical Mail is going to come out, which is something we see quite often. But I'm surprised he didn't finish off the Mystical Mail, the breastplate of Valor first. Maybe that's just due down to a timing window and he's not got that gold available to him. Instead of holding on to it potentially, he's gone for the investment in extra physical defense. It's
an interesting build. We'll certainly keep an eye on it and see where things go right there. Right now, SoaR local to the gold here. He just looked nice wall. Jigz, heads up play, dropping down the wall to make sure Arkkyl can't claim the oracles with the ricochet.
Oh, Zyrhoes could be in a bit of trouble here. The feather step was good. And boom, from Andy comes through. Homie's in trouble in response, though. Arkkyl will get it with a ricochet, and Terra's blessings involved, and Qvo's got Andy.
Arkkyl got jumped on before. He's the jumper now. And QvoFred taking advantage of the mid lane. Andy gonna put him down for the first time this game. Vetium's in trouble as well. Variety gets credit for that one. Zyrhoes the only one dead in Team Dignitas colors. Jigz is gonna pop into the ultimate to try and prevent the onslaught, but it's already done. Big damage, and the zigzag confirms it. Basic out of Arkkyl. That's number 7 for Team Dignitas. And with that near deicide, they're gonna head directly to the Gold Fury.
I don't know what SoaR were doing. They just filtered in one by one and went, okay, you're dead, no problem. Hey, Dig, come over here. Let me get me. CC me as well.
Yeah.
We'll pick up another kill. They get the oracles. The fight wasn't great for them. They got picked apart, and then on top of that, they lose the Gold Fury, and now Dignitas get a decent lead.
Yeah, that was basically just one of the bigger misplays that we've seen. The classic misplay that we see where you just think you can help your teammate, and then one by one, everybody just sort of walks off the bridge, and that one goes in Team Dignitas' favor. 2,600 after the objective, and the first game went to Dignitas pretty handedly. And this one seems to be going in the same direction.
I like the play from QvoFred in that fight, though. You didn't really catch him too much in it, but all he was doing was waiting for the right moment for andinster. All his job is going to be this game, I feel, is pick on the deadliest damage dealer in this game. Right now, that's andinster, and you've seen that in these engagements. He's playing very well and positioning well. So what Qvo has to do is always look for the threat and neutralize it. That's the name of what reason it's called an assassin. Yeah. Neutralize a threat, kill it before it can do anything else.
Serqet's one of the, honestly, few natural assassins that have that capability. You're looking at, I guess, Awilix, but really Loki is the true embodiment of that character.
Right hand side, fineokay. He's going to need a little bit of help over here, but with Jigz and andinster rotating around, it's going to slow things down from Dignitas' point of view. It wasn't even a fight over elementals, that. It looked more to do with the fact that they were just trying to get wards down around the fire giant.
Yeah, right now it's very early on. Players certainly aren't going to be looking for the fire giant just yet, but that portal demon will certainly be an objective that players want to look for. QvoFred gets stunned out just a little bit. Zyrhoes able to help him out.
And look at the pressure that they're trying to do to mid lane. They're always keeping andinster on the back foot the whole time, saying, hey, you walk forward, we're going to go in. Speaking of that, Variety is the one that looked to steal away the speed buff there on his own with a pin over the wall, as the rest of his team were doing speed on the right-hand side. And Variety is actually getting a bit of magical resistance online now as well. I wonder if he's going to go for the Pestilence here. It's not something that necessarily you need against the squad that SoaR's got with not much sustain in this, but Pestilence is a very cost-efficient item in itself anyway.
Exactly. Specifically, Silver Talisman right there is a nice bridge item that we see players go a lot and might not even finish it. Just the health is nice, but the big boost that you get from finishing off into Pestilence, it's a sometime situation.
Sure.
But Silver Talisman certainly can hold its own weight.
So what you can see from Dignitas now is they've pressured the left-hand side consistently, they got the Gold Fury, and now they've turned the rotation to the right-hand side of the map because the Portal Demon's available, and that's where they're dancing around right now, looking for an opportunity as the two Hunters are contesting still, and boxing a triple shot! Oh, good God!
That's Arkkyl, baby! Grabs Vetium, then just deletes him off the map. See you later. Goodbye, take a seat.
Yo, shout out to the cameraman there, by the way. I'm like, yo, cameraman, hang on, there's nothing's gonna happen here. Like, why are you watching this? Oh my.
Yeah.
That triple.
Zyrhoes now on the side of the Portal Demon. A little bit of a leash right there, no problem. SoaR obviously don't have the numbers. It's a 5-on-4 after Vetium just gets annihilated by the triple bounce. And Team Dignitas able to pick up that portal.
Good work by Dig again. Once they get a small advantage of a window, they'll try and exploit it with an objective as well. Getting that Portal Demon just continues to add gold to the coffers. It gives an easy way here as well. If Variety does want to back right now, he can do so and get back without having to use that teleport, which will leave it available for the next Gold Fury as well.
Very important for Dig that they pile up this gold thanks to the objectives. We see their mid laner going an extremely expensive build. Y'all might have caught me talking about Spear of Desolation being expensive, and that's all about the difference between the tier 2 and the tier 3. Book of the Dead is just a raw expensive item.
2.8k, right?
Yeah, almost 3,000 gold. And now it gives him a whole bunch of stats. You're talking 100 power and some nice sprinkles, but almost 3,000 gold, starting that after boots right away. Zyrhoes very confident in his team's ability to pick up these objectives.
Now the benefit of going that Book of the Dead though is that as long as you continue to farm up in the mid lane, you're going to get an extra shield, which is technically effective health, right? There's going to come into play in these engagements. It means you're going to survive a little bit longer. You're going to potentially bait SoaR into a bit of a worse spot where they think Chronos would be squishier.
Sure.
That health does help you out. Not only is that, but you can sustain back up again because you get a lot of lifesteal on this item too.
I find it very interesting, QvoFred. We got a glimpse real quick.
Yo, he's going Fatalis.
Yes.
So that's Sol Fatalis
The
works.
mid laner.
Yeah, sorry, I was just excited by seeing Chronos going Fatalis as well, because everyone's been saying, you know, Chronos Sol been struggling since the fact that they've not got Fatalis anymore. Well, Zyrhoes is trying to prove it still works.
So Sol, I think Fatalis is a flavor. I think that you can go the Fatalis if you want.
But you have to on Chronos?
Yeah, I think Chronos is more akin to the Freya character, where you've always built Chronos in mage-type style. You never really wanted to build all the rings on him. It just didn't work out. Power benefits him better, blah, 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 math. But what it comes down to, you're going to stick to that same build. But now, since the Fatalis is not baked into the kit itself, and Zyrhoes, with those basic attacks, still needs to keep up, and he's going to be doing so thanks to the Fatalis, as long as he stays accurate. So I like this pickup. In fact, I insist that this pickup is a core part of what Chronos wants to do these days.
Now, this Gold Fury right now is very important for both these two teams. This is a big window for Dignitas to take a substantial lead now, or SoaR to even the game up. Either way, this Gold Fury is so important. Arkkyl beads at the right time, but that beads is on cooldown, which means the freeze and the evade and punish he is more susceptible
This
to.
is about the fight. Dignitas do not have the tools to take an objective. Think about before when we saw a team get impatient and go for this Gold Fury. There's no Kraken. There's no Raw Beam. It's Zyrhoes on a Chronos. He delivers consistent damage. They're looking for the bait. They're looking for the fight.
They're after Jigz the whole time, but Quvo doesn't care about Jigz. He wants Vetium. Vetium speeds it down, and Jigz, boom, goes the dynamite. Arkkyl with another kill, and now they're looking towards fineokay and andinster.
Big damage coming out from virtually everybody on Team Dignitas. Chronos lagging behind a little bit, but that'll pick up as more items come online for the God of Time. Big zone coming out, 4 players in Team Dignitas trying to keep SoaR off of the objective because they have to take the fight since they can't confirm the objective.
Meanwhile, Vetium ulted onto by QvoFred, forcing him out of the fight. Homiefe
Arkkyl
tried to support, and now the meditation comes through for Dignitas, and they look to collapse back towards mid again. SoaR doing a very good job with only 4 members here of dancing with Dignitas, poking the bear, but staying out of its range.
At the same time, Dignitas are not going to lie down and hibernate. Variety on the right side, keeping Andy out of the conversation. Zyrhoes has to look around for Homiefe on the backside. Team Dignitas do confirm the Gold Fury.
And
without too many picks.
Look at the call. You see everyone disappear at the same time, even Variety there. Turtle Foreman out. Hang on a second, they've gone. All right, I'll do Harpies. But I like the call immediately for them to all immediately disengage, not hang around anymore. That's where they lost that first kill of the game.
I think Andy should have been a little bit more active there. His character can shoot from a zillion miles away. That is his job there as the mid laner, specifically as the mid lane Thoth. Listen, if you're gonna play Chronos, if you're gonna play a Sol, if you're gonna play a Zhang Kui, you can get out of that conversation. Be like, sorry guys, I don't have the tools. If you're Thoth, that's your job.
So there's combinations going on in this game as well right now, which we've probably not spoken about just yet. I know we haven't, because to do with the Ymir, right?
Okay.
Now Ymir in this game, I expect it to be okay. You know, Jigz has got a pretty solid Ymir, but he's got one problem: is that when the walls come down from Trixtank, even if his walls up preventing him from damage from physical, the damage that can come through from the stop time will still penetrate and still stun him in place. So it's wall stun into stop time stun, which allows the whole team to collapse onto him, and he's getting picked apart because of it. It's very tricky now for Jigz to continue to play on the front line. He may have to hold back a little bit, and that means that we're going to have to see fineokay on the Bellona and Homiefe play more of a frontline role, so Jigz doesn't keep getting picked.
At the same time, I want Homiefe to be the assassin. This is. I complain when they make him frontline. I don't like when they put him on the Odin.
They look towards Cernunnos. Nice stun from andinster there and slow down just to make sure he can't get aggressed on for a second. But 20 minutes in, Digger going to start looking towards the portal demon again now. They had a good little tussle over that the last time. And the way these fights keep going, it's Jigz that leads them through. And Jigz is 0-4-0 right now. He's only a level down, granted, but it's still a problem.
This has been a lot of fun. I like watching the Gold Fury. This time they're on the portal demon. Let's listen to Team Dignitas as they take on SoaR.
Ymir.
Bridge me.
Shell. Nice. Application. I'm fine. You're not coming. Hey, get off. Look at Vision. Back up. Yeah, back up. Just go Bellona. Portal. You have meditation. We're meditation. I have med as well. We don't need to use it, I'm pretty sure. Get the ward. No access now. Homie was one hit. Go here. Get him. Take it again. Yeah. Got it. Nice. Good. Back up. I'm backing. Reset. Push right. Yeah. Get out. We can take Posada. They're looking for Zyrhoes. Back on my way. Just go right. Push right. I'm back in there. Push right. Yeah. I'm gonna clear it midway before I back, boys.
Now that sounded like chaos, but that right there, synchronized swimming, marching band. That's what it is. They're in and out, moving as a unit. And yeah, they're all yelling and screaming. There's a lot of adrenaline going. But at the end of the day, Team Dignitas just pulled off a very complicated play. In and out on 3 different spots of the map. And we're able to pull it off. I love seeing the coordination coming out from these guys. It's a lot of fun.
It was good coordination, and one thing we saw when we were watching that actual fight there that happened, look at what QvoFred did. Remember me saying that he was focusing on andinster earlier on?
Yeah.
But he's not so scared of Andy anymore.
Nope.
Do you know he turned his attention to Homiefe in that fight? Homie was not allowed in that fight by Qvo one step whatsoever. QvoFred is having a fantastic game. He's one of those junglers that has been around the scene for so long. Last year, he was on the cusp of being considered potentially better than adapting, people were saying.
Yeah.
And now, is he going back to that way? Well, this LAN performance is showing signs of that so far.
Oh, Vetium, or as Team Dignitas call him, Vetium. Showing a little bit of disrespeckies to the North American hunter right there. Very, like me, very adamant about his name. And andinster, adamant about his death. Arkkyl's going to put him down. Not going to put any respect on that name. And mid lane, Team Dignitas grouping up as 5, looking for the tier 2 tower. SoaR doesn't look like they want anything to do with this defense.
The problem with SoaR right now is we watch Variety go aggressive onto fineokay again and just keep them busy so Dignitas can take the tier 2. Is that they're not doing anything. I said this game 1. They're not being aggressive. Who's shot calling this? Who's saying, look, let's go for the pick on this side. Let's go for the pick on that. It looks more reactionary than anything. Whatever Dignitas do, SoaR try and turn up to stop. But then Dignitas kill them and still do what they want to do anyway.
I'm seeing individuals play for SoaR right here. Big jump on a Homiefe. He'll feather step to avoid some damage. But Variety's ultimately going to take him down. That's a dozen for Team Dignitas. fineokay had a great early game. Homiefe had some great ganks. Andy, Jigz had some decent plays, but he's 0-5. And that's what I'm seeing of SoaR. I'm seeing individual play, not teamwork like we see across the way from the Europeans. And that's why it's 12-3 at 23 minutes.
You're running Ymir against Europe. You better know what's got to be coming for you because the Europeans play a lot of Ymir, a lot of areas all the time. It's not considered a top tier pick all the time over in North America, but I guarantee you Ymir's run all the time in Europe.
I mean, yeah, nobody's coming from Georgia, going to New York and opening up a pizza shop. You got to do what you're strong at. Jigz is strong at the Ymir. I love Jigz as Ymir, but you're walking into the bear's den with the bear cub. It's rough.
And I'm not picking on Jigz' pick of the Ymir or SoaR's pick of the Ymir. I actually think Dignitas' picks and ban phase were great. They banned Khepri, they banned Geb, and then SoaR's kind of like, well, what do we need? I mean, I guess we go Ymir.
It's less about Jigz dropping the ball and more about Team Dignitas just having every piece of equipment needed. SoaR show up, they have a Ymir pick, which works very well when they go head-to-head against North American teams. But here, sure, we're in North America, but you're on Europe's turf, so to speak. Everything's coming up, Pete Thom.
Did you just call Smite Europe's turf?
I called this set Europe's turf.
Okay, I thought you meant
absolutely.
I thought you just meant like Smite in general. Europe safe. I'm like, yeah, I'll take it.
Listen, right now this lane, I don't play no region
Here
bias.
we go. Go, Homie. No, Homie's had to back away. The final hunt coming through. Zero's rewind now on cooldown, and his damage over the wall was pretty good. But look at the ultimate coming out from Trix, as well as the monolith going to resustain them back up.
And the teleport from Variety. Great wall coming out from Jigz. Homiefe loses half of his HP in one shot. Forced to jump away is the assassin, and now it's Arkkyl taking damage from Jigz' Ymir. Nice jump coming in from fineokay. Fantastic initiation, but where's the follow-up? SoaR, what are you doing? That was a perfect opportunity.
They don't have much left. Their ultimates are all on cooldown, really, and that's going to allow Dignitas to walk away. Tell you what, though, Arkkyl should have died then. Arkkyl was very close to death, but I've got to give shout-outs to Trixtank, who body blocked a lot of autos that were heading for that young hunter's health as he was getting hit by the tower as well.
SoaR's rookie just opened. We talk about a window of opportunity. SoaR's rookie just put a breach charge on the wall and blew through the window, and SoaR just sat there on their hands.
And now that rookie is going to fall down. QvoFred gets 1-0, takes out fineokay. The tier 2 tower is only 3 members strong, so they have to give it up and allow Dignitas to get more gold in the bank.
Very unfortunate for SoaR not seeing that opportunity that was open. Jigz sets it up by putting Arkkyl low, and then out comes fineokay now, forced to defend their left side Phoenix with just 3 members. Looking a little bit dismal here.
2 new teams this season. All these two on your screen right now. For the most part, they were both considered potential super teams.
Yep.
Right now, only one of them is looking like they could be that going forward. So, really struggled. Let's be honest, they've not had the greatest of splits overall. Yeah, they've had some roster issues as well, but then the LAN performance up against Rival wasn't to be expected. We didn't expect them to crumble as quick as they did. And now they're against Dignitas. I thought they may have been able to use the Gauntlet as a launch platform for themselves, to launch this team onto new things and find that synergy, find what was, the missing links, correct it after the Gauntlet, but it doesn't look like they have.
Nah, not at all. SoaR struggling here in their second LAN in 3 weeks. 27 minutes on the clock, just underneath it. 14 kills along with Team Dignitas. SoaR, they only have a triplet. They're trailing by over 10,000 gold. In fact, 16,000. It's a very large number. And Team Dignitas have the wheel in their hands, and they're driving directly to Victory Town.
And you can't even talk about late game yet, because we're not even going to get to late game with how this is going right now.
It's late game for Dig.
Yeah,
look at all the items they got.
Of course it is. I mean, they're even finished off 6 items. I think we got finally the Rodder Tahuti coming out for a 0 shortly as well with this lead. And you can see the SoaR just like, well, I guess we'll hand back and wait to try and defend the Phoenixes, because we can't stop them at the Fire Giant.
Yeah, Fire Giant's going to go the way of Team Dignitas for free. Nothing SoaR can really do about this one. They're stuck on the left side of the map, pushing up the waves. And that's why we say the left side of the map is the most important Phoenix of the game, because you're so far away from the Fire Giant, which is the objective that you want to defend against when your Phoenixes are getting killed. At that point in the game, Gold Fury is passé. It's all about Mr. FG. And if you're on the other side of the map, well, it's not so easy to just transition from the lane into that objective.
So now Dignitas are going to use all the gold that they've got in their coffers from the tier 2 towers, the Phoenixes, yada, 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 and then look for the siege with this Fire Giant for the final push.
What's yada, yada, yada?
Same old thing.
But what's yada? What is the yada, yada, yada? What is the yada?
Walk back.
But what is the yada? I mean, you got to show me something.
So the yada yada was like walk back to lane and wait to go and use to kill the Fire Giant.
You need to watch more American TV.
No, I watch too much as it is.
Seinfeld, my friend, it's a classic.
Where's that filmed?
New York. Thank you for that one.
No problem. I'll say you one.
Sometimes you got to say, that's because I use Pete Tong.
Yes.
That's a 1-for-1.
Well, you're trying to steal my phrase, but it's
I'm not trying to steal your phrase.
You'll take it. It's no problem. It's all apple and pears to me anyway.
You can't compare fruit like that. It's not how that works.
Wasn't comparing it. Middle lane, Phoenix now being sieged up here. This guy's actually going to mean that North America are only going to have one team in the semis.
Yeah, the blue and white eager might be the last remaining hope. SoaR trying to stay with it. They want to take this game to a game 3, but at the moment, Variety, he's the one that's got 3 kills already. Homiefe bites back, but it's trips for Arkkyl. Make that 4. Ladies and gentlemen, the quadra kill coming out, and the victory belongs to Europe. They're headed on to semis. We'll see you on Saturday.
So what does that mean now? It means we've got to obey versus Rival in the top half of the bracket, and then we get Dignitas versus Eager.
It's going to be really fun semifinals. Both sides are going to be very tight here. Biggie right there in the middle. That's your Australian coach, absolutely helping the Europeans bring the hammer.
Only Team Dignitas there to go clean today. Like, didn't drop a single game.
Yeah.
Everybody else today took all 3 games to find the win over the opposition, which shows how close it was at Masters. Except for Dig, which SoaR just didn't have it today. I don't know how to call that, really. Like, they just didn't have it.
Yeah, we saw it just looked like a disjointed squad and very uncharacteristic, I would say, of this second half SoaR. We really saw these guys improve in the second half, and just not seeing it here at LAN, unfortunately. And I think come the summer split, we're going to see this team bake up and get a little bit more cohesive if they stick together. Of course, as always, that's a big if.
And they are a superstar squad, though, because if you actually look at some of their players, you could list them as top 3 North America in their roles specifically, but then put them together, different story. It's not gelling right now. That was really awkward. I just don't know how to really talk about that, because weird seeing Homiefe be so passive after the start of the game. It was weird to not see Jigz rotating, looking for picks in the mid of the duo lane with Homiefe. There was no real synergy there.
Yeah, it
was weird.
It was upsetting, honestly, to see Homiefe come up so empty. Usually, even in a loss, he's very active. He's very problematic for the enemy team. None of that. Very curious to see what was going on with SoaR in that one. We're going to break down a little bit deeper with Taco.
RIP NA seems to be the theme of the Masters LAN so far. Right now, every single North American's hopes lying alongside of Team Eager as they will be facing off tomorrow against Team Dignitas due to the win that Dig were able to secure just now versus SoaR Gaming. And I think that overall, it was just an excellent performance by Dignitas. They completely dominated in both of these games. A lot of that, I think, can be attributed to drafting. But Hayzer, what are your feels in particular about this?
I feel like that was the SoaR from Gauntlet, as I mentioned before. You know, they're a newer squad. You know, maybe they haven't had time to gel. Obviously, people switching roles as well. I know Dig are kind of a newer squad, but everybody's in their rightful role. So it can be tough to bring new squads together, and hopefully they bring a bit more for the summer split.
SoaR still learning, you know, the new solo laner, fineokay, doing work in the solo lane, not afraid to flex his guns with different picks, running the Athena in the first game. Didn't really work out too well in the long run, but either way, on the opposite side, you got to give a lot of credit to Arkkyl that game. Playing that Hui was just fantastic.
And all around, just he was popping off entirely on the Hui, and we said it before the game even kicked off that him on the Hui, that's such an aggressive hunter for a guy like Arkkyl. It's so much dominance that he can provide, and I think that the real end game for SoaR actually happened during this Gold Fury fight where SoaR tried to contest, they overcommitted onto Zyrhoes, and the rest of it was just kind of disaster.
Yeah, the game was going okay for them up to that point, but after this, you know, they went for Zyrhoes, they got the kill, it was great. They got the Thoth ult onto him to make sure he couldn't get that rewind off. But ever since that point, they killed 4 people, and then they just went on the Ymir. They had this long-range lockdown to kill the Ymir, and as we see this disgusting triple bounce from Arkkyl here, and that's not an accident. He's lined that one up. That is beautiful.
And it's almost as though Hui in that Gold Fury section is probably just going to strike fear into any hunter now, or just a team in general. Just so many triple bounces that we've seen over the past few weeks coming through in this section of game. And I just would not want to try and deal with Arkkyl on the Hui in the slightest.
Yeah, absolutely not. I think Hui is probably the hardest hunter alongside Chronos to contest Gold Furies against because of that big AoE ult and the potential of him just, you know, giving you with a 1 that comes off 2 walls.
But we never really saw a whole lot of Hui during the split even. Why do you think he's become such a predominant choice at LAN?
I think he has seen some prevalence towards the end of the season. I think he suits really well this trans build that's coming in. You know, he has a quite good level 1, a decent fight. He has a 10-second cooldown on the ricochet, so he can use that on people for poke and then use it on the wave as well. Bluestone and trans fit well with him, and I just think he suits the meta really well right now.
I think it's also about how you start in the laning phase. A lot of players have been experimenting around with what's the most efficient way. Do we go straight to lane? Do we go from purple to lane? And some teams have been doing, you know, back harpies turret, specifically energy, which is so efficient. And getting to that level 2 in the lane first makes the biggest impact.
Well, the impact was certainly made by Dignitas already in the last set of the day, picking up a clean 2-0 victory over SoaR Gaming. And I know that that entire team is so amped up right now, just knowing that they'll be progressing tomorrow to face off against NA's last hope, Team Eager. But to give you guys a little bit more insight as to how the set went today, we've got Variety standing alongside Hindu.
We do. Thank you, Taco, on the desk as well. Variety, congratulations, first of all.
Cheers.
Any surprises today?
In terms of games or all game?
Just a set. First of all, just for your set, first of all, I guess. We'll talk about the rest later.
I mean, we kind of expected the 2-0, to be honest. Like, going into it, we knew how they played, and like we just knew that we'd beat them, to be honest.
Sure. Was there any specific like picks or bans that you actually did this game? Because we saw Jigz end up going on the Ymir that game, and it kind of felt like you were trying to pigeonhole him towards that sort of pick.
Yeah, we looked back at the Gauntlet games and like a few SPL games, and we noticed like a common theme within the gods he played. So we either tried to take it or ban it away, and that seemed to work. So
now yourself as well, you played Erlang Shen in both those games. Where's he come from? Why is he back all of a sudden? What is it you actually like about him? You don't have to give me specifics too much. It's going to give too much away to the opposition. But is he just strong right now? Is he obviously clearly he's viable?
Yeah, I think he has a lot of CC in his kit. He has like 3. He has the knockup, which is the most like OP, like hard CC in the game. So that goes for 1. And plus his like laning phase is just really strong. He has a really good ability to box. So that means you can go and invade more and stuff.
Sure. So how has it been on this new team as well? Because obviously we were talking into it a little bit. You guys in Dignitas, you kind of came from everywhere to form this team at the start of the year.
Yeah.
How's it working out for you? Because you did leave the #2 team in Europe at the time to do this.
Yeah. Obviously, we didn't come into this team thinking we're going to be #1, like the new NRG, win every single LAN. We mainly used to split to just focus, play, get better friendship, just better synergy, just become a better team overall, and yeah. But I think we can go far this year.
And we're talking about the next set now, because you get to face off against Big D in the solo lane. Devios versus you, the 2 giants here this weekend as well. What's going to happen this time?
Probably the same as Worlds, to be honest. Just win lane, win game.
A 3-2, do you reckon? Or it's best of 5, remember?
Probably 3-1 to us.
3-1 to you? I'm excited for that. Any shouts you want to give before we let you go?
Of course, shout out to my team, shout out to Arkkyl for that amazing performance, and shout out to Team Dignitas.
Thanks so much for joining us, Variety. Congratulations. Cheers. We'll see you tomorrow in the second semi-final. We're going to head over to the desk, though, to make sure you guys know what's going on tomorrow as well.
And once again, a huge congratulations to Team Dignitas for securing their semi-final slot for tomorrow's best of 5 matches. And I just want to go ahead and let you guys know that the matchups that we have tomorrow are going to be particularly spicy. We're going to be seeing Obey Alliance versus Team Rival, and then Team Eager against Team Dignitas. And whole lot of EU coming through so far. Hayzer, how are you feeling on that one?
Yeah, a little bit nervous to go against my old team. I would really not like to lose to them and have everybody, make fun of me a bit. But, I love those guys. I'm really looking forward to the game. They're just great guys, great players, and I'm excited to see them succeed.
Not only that, semifinals for tomorrow is going to be best of 5. So a lot of adaptations in the meta. Little mini metas are created in these longer sets. So keep in mind for that as the sets continue.
You think we can expect to see anything that we haven't seen already?
I absolutely do think you can expect to see some things coming out of the EU scene that you guys have not seen yet. I think there's going to be some spicy ones that, maybe not the best picks in the world, but definitely situational ones that could come out and surprise some people.
Well, I'm certainly looking forward to that, and I'm sure that all of you guys back at home are definitely looking forward to everything that's been happening. But even though the games might be over for today, that's not the end of all the Smite magic that we have going on. You can still have the promotional event of the Hocus Pocus chest, 25% off all weekend long. You guys definitely want to make sure that you can get your hands on this chest, because that Aphrodite skin, I mean, we saw a little bit of the Afro today from Mr. Pernicus, and if you want to support Eager and just Smite in general, then can't really go wrong with the Hocus Pocus.
As long as you're not playing Afro jungle in my game, that's all I'm saying on the matter.
None of that. Get that out of my games too. I agree.
I don't know. I'm a fan personally. It's a spicy mix-up for once. Okay, don't give me that look, please. I'm just trying to promote a little bit of fun into life. But we do have a lot of fun still to come this weekend, guys. Make sure that you tune in here again tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, highres.tv, to check out all the semifinals actions and the best of 5s that we'll have going on. And from all of us here at Hi-Rez, have a good night.